that's where we're really starting to put our attention, because it is going to be NOCAP really starting to solidify where they're at in this league, guys, because I know we've kind of talked about them as being, like a mid-pack team. They are obviously sitting in third place at the moment, and they're not moving from there, but they could start to solidify a little bit more of their own storyline in terms of what we can expect in playoffs today.
Yeah, well, they definitely can't finish second, can they, Rob? So, look, based on the performance last night, unfortunately, I think that rift was really shown between them and the likes of the Bleeds of the world. NOCAP got off to a really good start over on Skyscraper in that first round. I remember watching it, and I was kind of like locking in a bit. I was like, wow, okay, that was a pretty dominant first round, opening up the account for NOCAP. And then pretty much every point from that round onwards was very dominant towards Bleed. Then they got one more round across that entire map. Yeah. Which was, again, probably, I think, a fair expectation to some extent, but just the dominant fashion in which it played out was still disappointing for NOCAP, a team that is still very much trying to re-find top dog form. Can this team potentially reach it? Maybe. But can they do it come playoffs? I'm not so convinced.
I think it would take some convincing to see them reach any kind of form of glory. There's no doubt about it, Michael. See, this is why we bring you on, because eventually we get there. We break through the ice a couple of times, and we get to the good crux of it. But Direwolves, the roster, Dev, that really have been struggling throughout this stage. They've said it themselves. Harambe's obviously been quite positive in his interviews, but they fully are aware of the struggles they have heading into stage 2. They felt a little bit kind of, not justified, but... have they rectified anything from their match yesterday?
Look, I don't know about... I think the rock bottom for them was, of course, their 7-0 loss to Bleed. But
yeah,
yes,
sure.
Yesterday they did have a dominant 7-2 over Knock Knock. For me, if you look holistically, Direwolves actually aren't doing too terribly. I think the biggest red flag is the fact that they went to overtime against Hasib. They probably should have gotten the full 3 points out of that game.
Sure.
But if we look back to their Rival matchup, like they actually beat Rival in regulation, got the full 3 points. And Rival have actually proven since to be a really strong team, themselves taking down Fury. So I don't really want to write Direwolves off yet. I definitely come into this stage was like, oh, well, they're probably just going to be a worse version of the Direwolves we saw in stage 1. And I don't think that's the case. I think Harambe, to all his humility, is actually a really solid player. And yeah, yesterday we saw him making some silly mistakes, but I think he's a very strong leadership figure for this team. He's a really strong player overall. He knows the game very well. And as he mentioned yesterday, the team has been working with Juicy, the former Australian player for various teams in the past, and now coaching them. And Harambe had a lot of nice things to say about Juicy and the work that he's done to elevate this team. So I really don't think it's done yet. I think that this is going to be a very tight match, and I wouldn't be surprised if Direwolves win it. I think NOCAP and DW are pretty much neck and neck at the moment.
I think it'd do a world of good for this roster to kind of come out the other side of this stage and feel like they progressed, right? Like both teams are actually... Now that I'm thinking about it, Michael, both teams have very similar kind of storylines in this respect. Like, both of them are kind of trying to find some form of glory, trying to find some form of form, if you will. But it does just feel like in this capacity, NOCAP, do they edge it out slightly?
Yeah, I think so. And even just like statistically aside, the biggest gameplay difference between the two teams that I've noticed and really perpetuated last night was mistake mitigation. Generally speaking, over the course of the stage, it has been better from NOCAP, and it was really quite poor last night from Direwolves, but they got away with it just due to the inexperience of South Asia, especially under pressure. I will say NOCAP equally as well against Bleed were exposed quite a bit as well, so you could probably make a fair argument that both teams are struggling in regards to mistake mitigation, but in this head-to-head, from what we've seen over the stage so far, my gut feeling is that NOCAP are just going to be a little bit more polished, and Direwolves, which I think stems back to a lack of confidence, just haven't quite shown that enough throughout this stage.
And I guess it goes to show where they're both sitting at the moment, Dev. It actually sounds like I'm being very negative. They are currently sitting 3rd and 4th, so it's definitely not giving them the respect they deserve. I think that there's well and truly the warrant to say that should they get that form heading into playoffs, they could both be equally dangerous. But I throw to you with a bit of a map prediction. Do you have something for me?
Well, I know the map we're going to, so I'd have to fake it.
Oh, God
but The thing that I do have to say is that NOCAP in their 5 games so far have actually already showed 4 maps, and they've been really good on pretty much all of them. Bank is one I was hoping to see. It's kind of a favorite map of mine at the moment, but taken out by Direwolves. Chalet is actually the only map that NOCAP have played twice, and it's curious to see them getting rid of it. I think it's a smart move. Instead, they actually go to a map, Rob, that we haven't yet seen NOCAP play, Nighthaven Labs. The only time either of these teams have played it is actually in that match that I mentioned earlier, where Direwolves went to overtime against Hasid Warriors. Very strange game, and Direwolves admittedly didn't look great in it. They actually ended up winning only in overtime, as I said, but it was an attacker-sided Nighthaven Labs as well. So for me, the question is, how much have NOCAP really been preparing this map? Because, as I said, we haven't seen them play it as of yet.
Yeah.
And is it a good decision to go to a lesser-known quantity, something that they've hidden in Nighthaven Labs, or should they have just gone with Chalet, which is a little bit more tried and true from this point? I personally am just excited because we get to see some more variety.
I mean, the more we get to see, the better it becomes, and it is into play day 6. I just vibe with this every single time it turns on. This is a battle for 3rd place, and it could well have some repercussions when we head to the semi-finals, so this is a very important match, both for form and for seeding. Guys, Dev Marta, enjoy Nighthaven Labs.
Thank you, Robbie. Guys, casting Nighthaven with you is always a little bit of fun. You see any good matches on this map recently?
February rings a bell.
February, really?
Yeah.
What's happening there?
I'm hearing what about Chiefs in my ears from Rob. I don't quite know how that
Chiefs
game
were not great on
compares
this. Yeah.
to that February SI Grand Final. They were on different levels.
I will say that Grand Final really... I was on the fence with Nighthaven for a little while, but that comeback really got me into it. Now it's one of my favorite maps. This, Bank, even Lair, I don't mind seeing. Yeah, Nighthaven's cool. And like I was saying before, guys, we might end up actually seeing attacker-sided Nighthaven here if we see the trend continue that Direwolves and Hasid had in their previous match on this map.
Yeah, certainly a potential, although that may have been watered down during the ban phase. Double shields off the board, so we won't even see one of them sneak through in this particular matchup. Again, to reiterate, globally, we are seeing a huge jump in shield bans heading into this stage. That's off the back of changes such as the impact grenade nerf, and teams, I think, just generally being a bit more clued into actually how to play around the shield rework. Valkyrie and Vigil off the board. So that is going to make the roam game a little bit weakened, actually, for the defense, just because of the lack of info offsite, as well as the Vigil being taken off the board. So I think we might see map clears actually be bolstered a little bit here for the attack. In terms of late round and breaking down power positions without shields on the board, that could prove to be a challenge.
There's been a lot of discourse about these shields. People say, if you use them too much, you're crutching on them, you're cheesing with them. I'm excited to see a match without any shields. It's going to be so much more focused on the fundamentals. I mean, you can be a really good shield player, and look, technically we could see a shield still. Fuse is in play. We always talk about it, and we actually have seen a few Fuse picks every now and then. But yeah, I think that looking holistically at this veto, right, we got a lot of very good anchor operators on the defense. Most notably, I'm looking at like this Mira, the Fenrir. Even just seeing Bandit, like Bandit has really come into the meta recently. We've seen an insane number of successful Bandit and Kai juggles, both of which are on the board. The Mute's on the board. This will be a game centered around hard breaching, clearing, and just fundamentals of Siege with no cheese involved when it comes to those shields.
Yeah, one of the weaknesses, though, of using the Bandit here on the exterior IT wall is the fact that it can be disrupted from low by the attack. Because the guy was establishing an angle already to look into that window, respecting NOCAP and expecting them to go for pressure from below. Maverick, though, is on the board, and so NOCAP perhaps will not go for that. Instead, trick the wall or simply create a line of sight at feet level to clear the batteries. Either would probably work. Like on the range hard breach here on the ace for this particular round is usually can be used over towards the likes of Con, both exterior and interior. Skatman took a chunk of damage there on the breach, trying to get to work on the Mav as Onigiri plays cover. Fortunately, though, he will survive and I assume can likely resume work on the wall if it hasn't already been picked up.
I feel like one weakness of this attack lineup is the lack of Deimos or Bach. Now, I'm a huge simp for both Deimos and Bach. Deimos is actually all I play in Quick Match these days. I'm so determined to get good with him. But I feel like verticality on this bomb site is so powerful. There are so many good anchor positions to play. And if Direwolves aren't pressured vertically, it's nigh impossible to actually find those kills onto those site anchors unless if you find some gnarly entry picks. So without that, they're going to have to make good on this position of Mark here in Rafters, making his way up. He does have 2 Selmas left, which could be nice for opening up this wall from Rafters into sight, generating some new lines of sight. He's going to do that exactly as I say it. And maybe that does open the gates for NOCAP.
Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser. Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
Yeah, very warehouse-centric push here at the moment from NOCAP. And that ranged hard breach has been able to get to work to expose that A bomb site. Those positions now under some threat. As Mr. Punch lurks down below, will likely connect over towards blue for a 2-3 split here from the attack. No pressure though over towards electrical may pose weakness for the attack, but they do get that first pick and the second.
Yeah, and it's just a full collapse. Everywhere that NOCAP is pushing, they win their fights, and the round is very quick because of it. They turn on the switch and immediately the round is over. I really like that. I mean, just look at the setup, the positions from NOCAP, guys. Very separated, but all together in a way. 2 players top blue, because that is the hardest position to push, and there's that shield, and I don't know how exactly they managed to 2-time that player behind the shield. But I also liked, I can't remember which player it was, I believe it was the Maverick. It was just in IT, right around the corner from, I can't remember which player it was, Pika perhaps, on the Bandit. Tempted to try and peek out, and all it took was patience, and eventually Pika is forced to move amidst the chaos of his teammates dying, and it's an easy lockout for NOCAP. A flawless opening on the attacking side.
Yeah, honestly, it doesn't really get much cleaner than that top floor. Typically, as the attack, you do have to sack a couple of players in order to open up those opportunities for trades, whereas in that particular occasion, NOCAP had those pre-established spots, applied an okay amount of pressure. The range hard breach certainly aided. And then Direwolves just lost fight after fight after fight. Really no contest in that opening round. And could be a bit of a trendsetter here for the match. We'll wait and see. Maybe NOCAP will be quite strong, despite both shields being banned out in this particular game. This will go for the second round, and we are going to see the Glaz employed here. Capitao as well for Onigiri running LMG.
That's weird.
Yeah, Onigiri himself a couple of playdays ago saying that he wanted to be shifted to more of an entry role, getting into the map and opening up plays and opportunities, but this time fulfilling more of a util role.
I mean, it appears as some kind of set piece from at least 3 players in NOCAP. Maybe it's a bait though, because it's only 3 of them. They do have the diffuser here. Man, that Capitao really is just a behemoth of utility though. Already using that Gon 6, here come the smokes. EMP to follow. Mark looking to get into position and force his plan down. Mr. Punch is the one. And push comes to shove to land the shots here through the smoke using that Glaz. The plant likely to go down. I love the spam here from the EMPs, preventing any C4s from detonating. And now it's a pretty fundamental post-plant here for NOCAP. Barely a minute into the round and already the tie have a massive opportunity to lock out their second consecutive attack. Direwolves forced to retake. And look at this from Mr. Punch. He's not going to over-peek here. He's not going to pre-fight. He's going to stay. Be patient. This moment, wait until he knows he's got a kill shot. As the smoke subsides, Souffle lands an insane peek. Really be careful here.
A miss.
Onigiri is in an awkward spot. He hasn't managed to land the position yet. And okay, Pika, amongst all the chaos, is able to get into a position to get that defuse down. However, DCH up here has confirmed that the round is not going to be stolen away by Direwolves. A bit of an elongated attempted retake there from Direwolves, but a very solid attack there from NOCAP.
Yeah, no, that was really, really clean. Direwolves played that just about as well as they possibly could have. I really did like their discipline into not peeking the smokes. They fully anticipated the Glaz or had a read that there was a Glaz outside breach, and you are just not likely to win that fight. The unfortunate thing being that with the smoke utility being spaced out, it left so little time for the retake later on in that round. You can see here they were shoulder peeking, they eventually got the pick, but not a whole lot of time to go. There was a second very brief opportunity here with the firebolt not landing as it hit a player in close proximity. as that flame went out, there was about a 2 to 3 second window max that they could actually still get that counter diffuse off in time. So it would have taken some really crazy timing there from Direwolves. Not to mention, Onigiri still stayed alive outside with that LMG. It was just able to rain down hulls. So yeah, really like that from NOCAP. Another good direct hit. And once again, not needing the shields to facilitate plays where perhaps you would maybe, from other teams, see them on facilitate that entry in to go for a bit of a safer plant. They take a more calculated risk, and it works out really well there.
I want to quiz you on something, Guz, because I've started to harp on about the same operator for a couple of play days now. And an operator that we're not seeing very much of on the defense that I feel like would be winning so many rounds. An operator that it used to be, you were mad if you weren't bringing this operator every single round. Why does no one play Smoke anymore? Smoke may well have won that round for Direwolves, had they had it. And I mean, I understand that there's so many operators you want to bring these days, and it's hard to afford an operator like Smoke, but I wonder if we'll see a shift where he starts to become more popular. We saw Bleed play it yesterday to extremely potent effect.
Yeah, potentially. Smoke sits at a... Trying to find his win rate. I sorted it by win rate now. I can't find him. 54.3, which is about midpoint in terms of overall win rate. And his pick rate currently sits at only 28%, or his presence at 28%.
Yeah, that's very low. It used to be like a 95% pick rate kind of operator. Just to put a pause on that for a minute, we have seen a bit of action go down. I think Bin was spawn peeking. He was taken down very early, which is pretty pitiful for a pulse. But Souffle here on, as you mentioned before, the sentry is able to hold on to his position for a little while. That's some nice picks, though, from Mark and Scatman. And, well, Souffle is taken out. The round is over again in just a moment. I mean, all that NOCAP had to do was just poise themselves in positions, poke and prod, and eventually Direwolves will overpeak and forfeit the round.
Yeah, Direwolves just can't match the heat inside of the server. I feel like NOCAP, again, as play days go by, continue to play more and more like their old selves. And even with the double shield ban, that some of these meta operators at the moment, I think, suit their playstyle, the likes of that, Deimos for quick entry and a lot of info gathering tools that can run to really facilitate these plays. And yeah, every single gunfight has just been so incredibly one-sided. Almost every gunfight in this match so far, we're 3 rounds in, and it's basically been a no contest at this point.
Which is funny, because Souffle was able to find his pick on the roam and not be traded, at least not until much later. But yeah, we didn't really get to see a lot, and we were pretty distracted, to be frank, what happened that round. But pretty much everyone from Direwolves died on that roam. The site was basement, all of them contesting either top floor or middle floor, or pushing for refrags when their teammates died. And NOCAP, 3 quite convincing rounds in a row have now forced Direwolves to take their tactical timeout. What has Juicy drummed up for us in that 60 seconds, I wonder?
Yeah, true. Harambe in high praise of Juicy in the interview last night. And so we'll see what kind of an impact that could have over the next course of this half. Only 3 more opportunities for Direwolves to really start to build some momentum in this matchup. And NOCAP seemingly have a really good read on them at the moment. They've gone for split attacks, rounds 1-3. Basement round 2 was very direct with Glaz. That too also very successful. So they've shown pretty good versatility on the attack. And yeah, I was not able to meet that standard required. A lot of these gunfights, don't know how many of them have necessarily been favorable to the side of NOCAP, but clearly the end result has been very much one-sided. Nobody's really been able to step up to the mark. Outside of maybe Souffle, he's had 3 kills so far. That's okay. Limited impact across the board from some of these players at the moment.
For NOCAP, this does feel like a pretty big match. Seeing that Fury has been dropping off a little bit, NOCAP, I've no doubt, have beat themselves up a little bit for how much they got stomped yesterday by Bleed. And the fact that they also were pretty easily put away by Elevate, but NOCAP are undefeated aside from those 2 matches. So, including, obviously, beating Fury, which was in overtime, but still, it's beating Fury, and beating Rival 7-1. If NOCAP end up winning convincingly today over Direwolves, they're looking like hands down the 3rd best team in this region. And that definitely changes the conversation for a team that scraping into playoffs and making mid-pack, but not really looking like that much better than some of these other big hitters in the region. I mean, maybe this is exactly what NOCAP needed, especially as they have been so modest about their expectations about how Onigiri is only just back. He's got a lot individually to work on, and as a team, they've still got a long way to get back to where they once were.
Yeah, again, pretty good fundamental map control already here from NOCAP. Rather risk-free as well. Onigiri repelling breach, that was opened up thanks to Scatman. Long as well has already been disrupted by Punch on the opposing side. Hold down this line, try and pinch alongside Mark, but an initial trade doesn't land.
Finally, though, eventually, the trade does come through. Harambe's down. It's the Azami. No more Kiba barriers. Onigiri here on the Brava. Great operator to bring when you're talking about that Aruni. Fenrir as well. Great counter for that. Mr. Punch. Oh, he's been so good. One of the best players in the region right now. Seal around the other side. Wins his fight. Bit of an overswing. Almost a pre-fire to get the kill there for Seal again. Onigiri doesn't want to overcommit here. He's got a long-range weapon. Not so dangerous in the close range, but Scatman may be able to trade here. Oh, Seal is lucky to get away with his life, but Souffle takes advantage of Scatman's mistake. The round has flipped. Seal has held onto his position so well. Big 3K for him in the rounds. That puts Direwolves on the board for the first time.
Yeah, I think we may have seen a bit of complacency set in there from NOCAP in that particular round. The Azami provided strong power positions for the attack on the top floor, but there's a lack of util flushing out these positions. One flash and Yuruni is dead. Blind peeking into that with the Roni in hand is not a favorable fight, and Seal does a good job in locking down those that position and winning those ones. So much better that time around. Big individual effort. NOCAP, again, in my opinion, just a little bit too disrespectful there and expecting that to be a free kill, and ultimately they were punished.
Direwolves are no strangers to going up against NOCAP. These teams have played each other a million times in the last, God, I don't know, 2021? 2020... Maybe 2021 was the first time that we really started seeing these teams play each other regularly. I mean, maybe back in the APAC North League, technically, when they're playing on very different banners. But most recently, it has historically been NOCAP. Like, all last year, it was all NOCAP. In Stage 1, NOCAP won every single time. Direwolves never got the one-up over them in the last year. With the exception of in playoffs in Stage 1, guys. These guys met in the quarterfinals. NOCAP were hands down the favored team in that match. And Direwolves knocked them out of contention for the major. That tells you a lot about Direwolves and how far they had come, and perhaps how far NOCAP had fallen. This does feel like a bit of a grudge match as a result for that, and if NOCAP can win here, like I've said, it would just mean so much to this team. The timing is perfect. Fury is very much on the out, it seems. There's space for one of these mid-pack teams to assert themselves into that top 3, maybe even top 2 conversation, and it's one of these right here.
Yeah, the unfortunate fact, though, only one spot at Montreal for this region, and so bridging the gap towards lead, touted to be the top team, still is going to be a challenge, but you never know, and it is certainly exciting to see competition rise up, especially some of these older names returning to form, or at least attempting to. Top floor clear for NOCAP here in the 5th round. It is a basement defense. Last time from the attack, it was extremely direct, utilizing the Capital and the Glaz. But this time, very much a focus on verticality with the Ram and the Buck duo. Good luck as well available for flank watch, as Scatman has spotted the sentry inside of Lounge. Seal is close by though, so a tandem roam from the defense. Behind NOCAP go trying to break it down.
It was actually the 3rd time we've seen this bomb site. You wouldn't be faulted for forgetting about the 2nd time Direwolves played it. They all died on that roam. And it looks like they are going again for a roam kind of play. Difference is now tactical timeouts come through. Direwolves have found a bit of momentum winning that last round. And NOCAP have not found 5 picks in the first 2 minutes like they did last time they attacked this site. This reinforcement as well, preventing NOCAP from aggressing into storage, is going to keep those Direwolves players safe. And the Goyo as well on site here is going to mean that time is locked out for much longer here for Direwolves. NOCAP eventually go for that flank, but Bin Bin had been watched the whole time. DCH's patience is finally verified, and he gets that kill.
Yeah, 30 seconds available for the rest of this attack, and the smoke is up, as you mentioned, underutilized in this match so far, but should be able to stall out a lot of time alongside those Vulcan canisters.
So the plan starts to go down, but Seal opens the equation. Where is the cover? A C4 is ripped. Mark has to decide to stick it. He does, but it doesn't go off. The C4 came in just at the moment the plant was about to go down. And now that smoke and more C4s can surely make this possible. Onigiri finds a pick and immediately goes for the plant. Swung by Pika. No time here for Mr. Punch and DCH. DCH has got to stick it now, but he goes for a kill instead. The wrong decision. And Direwolves scrape away with another defense.
Yeah, too many pieces to break down there from Direwolves after, for NOCAP after a really good piece of plant denial from Direwolves. A perfectly placed Nitro. Perfectly timed just as that plant was almost secured. I think the decision was probably correct in the moment to stick that plant. Unfortunately, Mark does fall. Onigiri tried to collect and got one, but immediately went for the plant, and there was nobody covering that swing from Pika. Still a player up above. Perhaps Onigiri lacking just a little bit of patience. Maybe if he had waited a fraction longer, that cover could have come through.
Even in that kill cam, guys, we actually saw DCH drop down right after Onigiri died.
Yeah.
I reckon he waits one more second and DCH is there to cover him.
Yeah, totally agree.
I mean, it's the tiny differences like that that set apart teams like NOCAP and Direwolves from your teams like Bleed.
10 seconds to go.
Yeah, totally agree. I think Bleed in that particular position, just with how much international experience they have in recent times, and the leadership figures that they have, probably would have had that discipline to just wait a couple of extra seconds and bolstered their chances of that win condition. Tertiary site now though for Direwolves here, final round of the half. So an opportunity still arises for them to equalize off the back of a pretty slow start. And then a tactical timeout from their coach GC, which has proven to be rather effective so far. NOCAP bring dedicated hard breach for the exterior IT wall and can open that up. Ram likely to follow with DCH playing that particular operator to open up vertical control from above.
Oh, this is a weird angle.
Yeah, I don't mind that. Bring Brava again here. We've seen NOCAP bring it a couple of times now, alongside Twitch, so doubling down on dedicated drone operators.
I'm not sure whether they lacked information from the prep phase, guys, because usually if I see a Twitch, there's probably targeting on that mirror or the Goyo. Now, there is the mirror, maybe that's the target, but Twitch doesn't really have much value against these other operators. Perhaps Fenrir, but then you've got the Brava. Like, why both? The Brava realistically can only hack the Fenrirs and maybe the Bandit batteries, but that's never going to happen. A bit of a strange choice for the lineup. It does mean that they're lacking a little bit of breaching. Got 4 castle barricades, only 2 Ash breaching rounds. Here comes an entry from Scatman. No! How does he whiff that? Oh, he's going to be kicking himself. Pika takes him out. Mark now looking for a reply. NOCAP seem to be going extremely direct. Inching closer to the site without yet clearing down below or up above. Nice shot there from Mark. Likely to find a second one as well. Mr. Punch coming in for a big flank. Harambe has a solid position there, but if he overswings, could mean the death of him. Still control above and control below here. Nice shot from Mark. 4v3, a smoke to go out. Cut off this line of sight. DCH elsewhere has enabled this, but below the pulse lingers. Bin Bin might be able to get into a plant position, but it's faked at the perfect moment. Onigiri has the wherewithal to be patient in this round, which we didn't see from him last round. A C4 deployed again. This time it does take down Mark, but that was not the planter. And NOCAP will confirm it. Up to Bin Bin and Souffle now to retake, but Mr. Punch has got them dead to rights here on the cargo stairs. Bin Bin played that so well, but NOCAP simply played it better. Fantastic way to knock off the half for NOCAP. Die was completely obliterated.
Yeah, NOCAP have looked really clean on that side. The horizontal control and pressure has been a lot, and has been very clean in flushing out the site. And then, unfortunately, the vertical play there from the defense did fall short. Seal was up above and then got taken down. I thought he could maybe be a threat. And then, of course, as we saw, the pulse down below feeding information for potential denial. Double nitro attempt from below. The first was negated by Onigiri being really patient with the diffuser this time around, which was good to see. Whilst the second did land down, it was a post-plant scenario, and retaking up that staircase very, very challenging for the defense, and NOCAP doing a good job in closing out the round. So a 4-2 half, and things looking pretty solid for them now.
I still feel like this is not out of the woods for NOCAP, and I don't think Direwolves need to be kicking themselves at all. They went 4-2 on their defense, or rather 2-4 on their defense. To make it clear, Direwolves only won 2 defense rounds against Hasib, and yet they still won 4 attacks. So if they can do it against Hasib, I wouldn't be surprised if they can do it here against NOCAP. Yes, a slightly different caliber of team, but again, if Direwolves can win 2 defenses against this team and Hasib, I just think they've got a way back into this for sure. On this attacking side, they will really be tested, and they are fighting from behind. They need to make sure that it doesn't occur to them, that it doesn't get to them. And here we get to test NOCAP on their defenses of this map. How do they deal with the Maverick being in? How do they deal with the Grim? Vertical play. We've got both Ash and Buck on the table here for Direwolves.
I was making quick work of hard breach in this round. Bulletproof camera, though, is feeding a lot of information into this particular position. And outside of the IQ to spot that utility, I don't know if they have the best tools to deal with that. I have one grenade in hand, and that may have actually just been used on the wall on the BBC. I didn't quite spot it.
They were going to use the Selma, the breaching round from Ash, but they've already used one to open the soft wall, and there are mirror windows up, which I would much rather see the Ash be used to counter the mirror windows, which the grenades and the Gon 6 from Buck won't counter, and then see that other utility to deal with the rest of this util. Here's one of those mirror windows. That's a very challenging one to clear without an ace or Ash charges. Here's the other mirror. Hey, what are you doing? Onigiri, bro. You're not respecting this angle at all.
That was straight troll if you had died that.
Attackers recovered the diffuser.
That second layer of defense from NOCAP, I think, is going to prove... It will prove to be difficult to take down. Those mirror windows are certainly not to be underestimated. And unfortunately, Direwolves still haven't properly broken down this first layer of defense. They only now have a minute to work with. Here comes the double stack blue, which is pretty common. Big onus on these two unlocking the round for the attack.
What have they got to work with? The position's been truly revealed now. Onigiri's in a very cheeky spot as well. If he pops his head up, he's likely dead. Flash goes out. The Bark actually opens up this position as well, potentially enter the site. Lines of sight will be advantageous. They know that Onigiri's behind this desk. They're just waiting for him to pop his head up. Easy free kill. Mark finds one elsewhere though. Mr. Punch in the position now to win this round for NOCAP as Direwolves continue farming. Massive round from Pika. 3 kills on this entry. The diffuser in Seal's pocket as he starts to force it on down. DCH goes for an extremely ambitious run out. Where is the plant denial? Big flank now here from Mark, but he's spotted and taken down. What an unbelievable round from Pika. The ace. A huge moment for Direwolves. They show that, yes, they truly do have teeth on their attacking side.
Yeah, unlocking that position proved to be so powerful in breaking down that back line of the defense, and then NOCAP pretty much internally imploding defensively there. Pika, big round, really well played. Landing some really formidable shots. A couple of acts of desperation in that round from both teams ultimately, but Direwolves was able to get that one across the line. Good confidence builder for them. And keeping in mind, we've already used that timeout, so just something to keep in the back of our minds if these attacks do prove to become a bit of a challenge and hard to break down. But really couldn't have asked for a much better start there to kick off their campaign here on Labs.
The attackers bombed.
So I guess what we've learned now, guys, is that Dials just need to focus up and make sure that Pika gets an ace every single round.
I mean, they could try. That would be
Is that what
highly
Jesus
unlikely,
said?
but you could try.
What? It's funny, Pika and Souffle, both these players who they were the gunners on the old Dials roster, and funnily enough, they're kind of the only ones left aside from Harambe from that OG Dials roster.
Locate a bomb and defuse it.
And they're still gun. Like every now and then, you just have a Pika round like that. You just like, yeah, they had players to refrag, but he just wins every single one. He never needed to be refragged. Gnarly stuff. Oh well, less likely to happen on these other bomb sites for sure.
I'm just trying to load up Pika's stats. I'd actually be quite intrigued to see where he's sort of standing heading into the night.
In the league, he's 20th best in the league at the moment, which is pretty much dead middle.
Yeah,
99.
Certainly
Interesting,
not
none of...
amazing.
Well, he's the highest rate on Direwolves, and he's at 20th. You compare that to NOCAP, right? You got Mr. Punch, 5th best player, Scatman, 9th best player, DCH, 11th best player, and Onigiri, 17th best player. 4 out of the 5 from NOCAP. Actually higher rated than Pika, the best of Direwolves. However, he's clearly insulted that we are talking a little bit of smack about his stage, and he's decided to just have a life game because he's already found an entry onto Onigiri. Not sure what the idea was behind the roaming mirror, but the roam game has been cut apart. As I say that, Mark finds 1 and 2. Huge round from Mark. Gets a little bit greedy looking for a third, and losing his life there does secede that advantage. The numbers that NOCAP managed to rack up, Direwolves now in the advantage.
Yeah, the overpeak there. Will that prove costly? It does equalize the man count, 3 apiece. And critically, Pika, who is on a heater at the moment, still alive and with a logic bomb, can be utilized here. Ram for divert. Exo could be the next place to clear. Hack to come through, but info may be limited. DPC immediately taken down in response there, either
Recovered their diffuser.
from NOCAP defensively, if I had to guess. 3 versus 3. And Seal to lead the charge.
Maverick opening up this wall. Mr. Punch has to relocate. As the logic bomb goes off, they know exactly where Mr. Punch is in that corner. He's so killable here. Oh, there are 2 players just staring at him. Mr. Punch is a dead man. He falls immediately to Seal. Problem is, Pika's on with that diffuser. I'd rather see him up and alive, especially as Seal is lower HP. If Seal is the main player that has to cover, he's in a very vulnerable position. However, it's all up to Scatman now. The 1v3. He has 2 Elemines here. There's a chance he can actually deny this with the Elemine.
Yeah, maybe.
He must have information. Yeah, he hears that plant come out. Out goes the
no way.
Elemine. First one, does it deny the plant? It misses! Oh no, that's critical! Oh, that could have been a round-ending play. But instead, he loses the advantage. And now, an opportunity for Direwolves to lock out this round quite handily. No more util to speak of. Nice shot from Scatman. 2 more to find. He needs to isolate these ones. Both players are playing quite separately, but will be able to re-peek and swing. He can't hide forever. He's got to make his way forward. Both of them playing right next to each other in Exo, watching each other's backs, but both of them are low as well. Scatman actually has the perfect weapon, but he's not peeking yet. He needs to go right now. There was 12 seconds left on the clock. Even if he found both kills, there would have been barely any time to go for that defuse. A little bit scared there for Scatman and NOCAP. The lead is starting to slip.
I don't want to sound too biased, but every cell in my body really wanted that Eladina to work out because that would have been insane. Unfortunately, though, the mine does not detonate, the plant not disrupted. And as close as Scatman did make that from a 1v3 down to a 1v2 with the 1 HP, still a tricky round to win. And so I liked what we saw there from Direwolves. I think their initial clearance of the site and getting that plant down was done in quite a clinical fashion, which was good to see. And I'd be the first to admit that I am quite impressed with their attacks so far, surpassing my expectations. And again, it goes back to what I was saying about last night. Over on Clubhouse, very fundamental heavy map, they made quite a few errors that I think against a team like NOCAP would have been punished at a far greater degree. Tonight, as this match progresses, it kind of feels like NOCAP is starting to make a little bit more errors themselves with things like overpeaking, their time management, even on defense, right? In installing out and playing the correct positions is also a little bit off.
Attackers are heading
So
out to
it's
the
really turning into more of a contest than I anticipated.
So Nighthaven Labs attack favored confirmed? I guess?
Yeah.
I don't know, we're starting to see it. Second game that I've watched in Asia League, which has been just so dominantly attacker favored. I was not really looking to slow down anytime soon. NOCAP still have their tactical timeout in pocket. This is quite an aggressive hold on the top floor here for Mr. Punch. He's at quite a stage so far, as I said, 5th best player in the league. But he's in such a... Oh, wow, almost finds a wallbang for Harambe. He's in such an aggressive position, he needs to find value. He does not. Pika takes him down. And what a game from Pika. Dials again in the hot seat. NOCAP losing control of the top floor is basically a death sentence on this bomb site.
I actually have a very fun fact, and it's very well timed. You mentioned Nighthaven Labs perhaps being a bit of a attacker-sided map or attacking Haven. This site we're actually on right now is the worst defensive site globally in the game this stage. 28.6%. It's been played 7 times. Yeah, on every map. It's only been played 7 times, so take what you will, but 42.9% plant rate as well, which is very high.
Very bloody desperate for NOCAP to go to this bomb site. No idea why they're doing it. And look at that, that bulletproof camera is toast as well. 3v5, this is going to be Direwolves taking the lead. There's no question about it. They should win this round. Another pick for them. Mark's position revealed. As he sees 2 drones, he takes 1, but he's not even confident on his shots here. Him and Onigiri have been forced so far back. This is the freest plant Direwolves have ever seen.
Yeah, surely from here, they can look this out. Mark should not be able to retake this corridor without being spotted from lobby. Mark has a read though.
I know where he is.
Yeah, he could potentially get the kill. There we go. So maybe a chance, but very slim.
Drone's ready.
He's going to take the moment, though. He's taken the one player that was covering his hallway. Now a player has replaced him. It's Souffle. Moving into position. I think he timed that well. He's now snuck into sight and found another kill. But he's going to get traded by Pika. Again, Pika is the one to step up. It's all up to Onigiri now, and there's no way you win this with the SMG-11. Surely not. Pika starts to force that plant down. Onigiri should have heard it. Nice shot onto Seal. 1v2 is winnable, but with 2 HP, maybe not. Especially not when Pika is still alive on the other side. Walks into a goo mine. Got to pull that out. Onigiri's got information on one of these players and should have a pretty solid read on where the second one is. In kitchen as well. Almost a chance here for Onigiri. But it looks like Souffle is going to the top floor to play the post plant in the safest way possible. I think Pika is still trapped here. Another flash to go out. Onigiri not affected. He needs to go now. Time is ticking. His position revealed and Pika to swing it and confirm that kill. Direwolves, from losing the first half, only getting 2 rounds of defense, have come back to take the lead on their attack.
Yeah, I'm glad the stats back up my gut feeling that that site is just terrible for defense, and I really don't quite understand why NOCAP are putting that in their rotation so early. I suppose maybe they just want to go for a bit of a Hail Mary and then call their attack, and use the next 60 seconds to reset for a following rotation. But yeah, peculiar decision, as I said, and to reiterate, heading into tonight globally, 28.6% defensive win rate. That is really, really poor. I'll let you guess, what are the next 2? Because the next 2 actually have 36 and 54 plays, respectively. Border and Bank are the...
Okay, Vents?
No.
Border Vents? No, Border Tellers is...
Border Tellers, 38.9%.
Tellers is worse than Vents. That's actually a surprise to me. Interesting how the meta's switched. Okay, and Bank, you said? Kitchen, surely. Or is it top floor?
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
Kitchen.
Open area, 40.7%.
Yep. Wow. I'm loving the new. This stats Guz is a new evolution I didn't expect, mate.
Oh, Vents is actually quite
really good.
Let me sort by map just so I can see if it's actually... Ooh.
This is nice. I'm loving the new evolution of the Michael
Fence is actually
Guzgari
the
stats, man.
second best defensive side.
No way. In the
And
game.
that is skewed by Customs being the most defender-sided, but also the least played.
Wow, Customs is most defender-sided. I guess that's because it's like played 3 times or something.
It has the best defensive win rate, but also the highest plant rate. So you either get smashed on that side, or the defense like just wins out.
How many rounds has Customs been played on Border?
11.
Oh, that's way more than I thought. I swear I've seen some Customs this stage.
Yeah, globally, by the way. This is not Asia.
Yeah, of course. Oh, that's really fascinating. Oh, wow. What is the what's the CCTV site that we're on right now? And the basement here, tank assembly on Nighthaven.
So second floor labs has a play amount of
the most played?
109 rounds. It is the most played. 56% defensive win rate. Basement, 101 plays, so 8 less players, but a 64% win rate. So 8% higher win rate, but it also has about a 9% higher plant percentage. So I guess direct attacks, if you don't know how to defend, you're probably going to get planted upon.
Yeah. Oh, fascinating. You don't really see many rushes on this bomb site, unlike the basement. Perhaps that's one of the reasons why we see more plants. Well, one ingredient that we haven't seen a lot of so far, but makes an appearance, is this clash. And based on Seal's reaction when he saw the clash, I don't think he was aware in the prep phase clash was well hidden, and there's no real operators that directly counter it. Of course, you can always just jump up, smack the clash's shield, and shoot her foot. I wonder how much Scatman has played the clash recently. I mean, always been a good shield player, Scatman, but having a mediocre, or having like an average clash and having a really good clash is a huge difference.
Yeah, it's only the 5th time we've seen clash played in Asia for this particular stage, so we haven't seen a lot of it. How impactful it will be in this particular round, however.
You're not going to be able to get a sentence out without saying a stat now.
I know.
These stats out of you, Guz.
You patted me on the back, and I'm like, oh, thank you, I'm a good boy.
You know what's fun? My spreadsheet actually was broken today. I went and logged in, and my spreadsheet that gives me all my map stats is broken today, so I didn't have it for this match. And here we go. You've got every stat you could possibly want.
I try not to flood my cast with too many stats, but once I get the ball rolling, I don't stop.
Oh, mate. Keep it rolling. I'm here for it. Now, NOCAP are repositioning around this map. They know that a lot of the execute's going to come in through IT, and that's why the Clash is prioritizing that. But also through Con and through Electrical, that's where DCH and Mark are covering at the moment. The Clash needs to split her attention between that and IT.
Yeah. Ooh. Electrical. Scatman needs to be really careful as Binben. I thought was almost going to cut off that position, yeah. All the way through Con is a crazy play to make with only 40 seconds of clock. But it works. Wow.
And they've also reinforced back over the site as well. Mr. Punch has won his here at top blue. Another big pick. That's huge. Even though he dies, it really doesn't matter. Okay, maybe I was wrong. Maybe they didn't reinforce over the site. Seal and Harambe now. 4v2, 4v1, 4v none for NOCAP. Their first defense round in the books, ladies and gents. Looking very solid. That was the most convincing defense we've seen so far.
Yeah, well, that tactical timeout certainly paying dividends, refocusing in that round back to the primary site and things looking a little more normalized for NOCAP. But again, the damage has already been done by going to Kitchen and losing that out. They will need to go back there or to storage if they are to close this out in regulation and win all 3 points. Otherwise, Direwolves with just a singular point will be able to snatch something away in this particular match. So basement we go. And they'll be looking to keep the ball rolling here. The Clash is going to reappear. We highlighted the Clash in the previous round as maybe over-aggressing in through Con. But much like Bin, we were baited, and it was a rather effective tool in denying Electrical in the end. Well,
whoever wins this game will be 3rd place in the league going into our final play days, guaranteed, regardless of whether it's an overtime or regulation, Guz. So this match does mean a lot. NOCAP.
10 seconds to go.
I mean, what a story it would be for them. What a story for either team. With Fury dropping on down.
5 seconds remaining.
Of course, Direwolves was the next in line to the throne, if you will, after Fury, but I feel like NOCAP have really pushed themselves back into this conversation. And there's, of course, a lot of hype around it as well. Now, just to remind everyone what being third in the league means compared to fourth, when we go into playoffs, the top 6 proceed, and the third place team is in a group with second and sixth rather than first and fifth, so a much easier half of the bracket. Though at the end of the day, it's important to remember you have to beat everybody in the bracket. You can't just skate through and see Bleed on the other side of the bracket and wave at them as you both go to the major. No, only one spot at the major for this incredibly competitive region. I mean, hands down, the most competitive region that only has one spot in the major. It's not even a conversation.
So Souffle joining himself currently over towards lobby. We've seen teams more and more so defensively aggress in towards the likes of Kitchen. Some teams even bringing the Azami just to solo hold that position and waste time. It's not quite as aggressive here from NOCAP. However, there are still pressure point off-site.
Hello?
Especially towards the staircases. I don't know where that shot came from.
Bin Bin's questioning his reality after that.
I am too.
Alright, Clash again in play. Scatman here on the cargo stairs. He's about to get droned out. DCH is there to shoot this drone. Oh, Pika, I think he's got the read. He doesn't want to lose his drone. He's going to pick it up. He doesn't actually want to go and feed that drone. Lose it. He's a little bit uncertain. He's now changing his mind. He's going to go and do it again. Stairs are clear.
Ooh, big nitro though from Onigiri to open up the round. Bin Bin falls. So the fragging power of the Ash taken care of by NOCAP. They haven't found much from Vert here, Direwolves, and it's proving costly.
Yeah, now numbers down with that Clash still up, still losing fights through the floor. Mark is committed to the bit, but he's low as well. Souffle's got the superior damager in his weapons. Scatman is so low HP here on the Clash. He needs to not let on. Aggressive push from DCH. NOCAP have come to life. The Goyo's fire does eventually finish off DCH. Scatman also needs to be careful not to expose himself as well.
Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
Come on now, Pika and Souffle. They have to go deep. That Vulcan canister can deny this plant so easily. Sprinting on forward, he survives just briefly, but Scatman falling off takes the kill credit for that one, all up to Souffle. And this looks like the end of the road for him. Direwolves looked so good the start of their attack half, but it has absolutely petered out. NOCAP find themselves eventually here on match point.
Now the question begs, where do NOCAP go for this particular round? Kitchen was a disaster, and as I've mentioned, the site globally is really quite poor. So the big decision to make, do they reattempt it or do they go to storage? And it looks like it will be the former as opposed to the latter. So NOCAP need to subvert all expectations to win this round and avoid overtime. If you missed the stat earlier, globally heading into tonight, this site globally has been played 7 times by defense, by far and away the least popular site, and they're facing down a 70% chance almost of losing this round. That is how poor it has been for defense.
Yeah, wow.
And they already lost it once, just to reiterate.
Yeah, I know, this seems like, yeah, huge mistake, huge mistake. This round can be won here by NOCAP, but I feel like the win condition is holding onto that top floor a little bit longer and getting good value out of this Clash. But, I don't know, it just seems so risky. I know sometimes there are exceptions to rules, guys, and the funny thing about a bomb site being so attacker-sided and so rarely picked, it means that Direwolves will have very little experience playing against it, especially if NOCAP have a really cool pocket strat. I love that from Mr. Punch. He's run outside to reinforce the hatch. He's going to then go inside with the Kaid. It's going to force the Maverick to be the one to breach it. See that in ranked a lot. If there's anything here for NOCAP, I mean, they clearly have an idea with this bomb site, and if they don't lose early picks like we saw previously, and if they make good on this Clash, maybe there is a chance for them.
Yeah, we shall see. The next couple of minutes are going to be very telling as to whether or not NOCAP have formulated a magic plan on this site. Exterior con worked by the Mav and open up. Rather risk-free, so that's good work from Harambe and Souffle. The mute posing problems up above. I like this tool being utilized by the defense. It does make the info gathering a little bit more cumbersome here for Direwolves, and that goes back to the discussion of stalling out time on the clear up above. Even the best of defensive teams will find it hard to hold up above, but if you can waste time, especially risk-free, that's great. And currently, they don't even have anybody on that top floor yet. Direwolves still taking their time in clearing and doing their due diligence.
It's so critical here for Direwolves not to just lose an early player, and that's why they're playing it so slowly. But when it comes to that late round, when you've got operators like the Clash on board, then you have to be careful, because if time has ticked away, then you're not going to be able to have enough to go for an execute. I'm also cautious that as the round comes to its end, DCH, if he's still alive, may be able to rotate into a position to jump up one of the hatches and reflank that top floor with that Oryx. Direwolves, though, they're starting to position themselves ready, start going for a push, and here comes the Maverick. Open up an avenue onto site.
Yeah, Harambe needs to be clean with the wall and not waste any time, but I think he has been so far. It's the top done and the bottom to follow. So there'll be a period here of about 45 seconds for Direwolves to think about getting this plan down, or at least what they want to execute upon. DCH again, as you mentioned, poses a threat on the Oryx, flank potential available. He's currently situated in lounge and will have a hatch above him and wishes to go for that.
Changing mags.
Been clean so far from Direwolves.
Oh, there he is.
But the defense has been good as well.
There's that hatch right next to him. He may well go for that flank. He just needs to time it to perfection. If he goes too early. Oh, there he is. DCH goes with the flank. He's been spotted. He might be able to distract enough time, though, to prevent the execute from going down. 17 seconds now for Direwolves to push us into overtime. But NOCAP are ready and waiting. 2 players in deficit. They need to deny this plan. Pika there, once again, good for it, but the plan is still going down for Harambe.
Denied.
Scatman is still alive. The plan denied! NOCAP have done it! There's nothing in it left for Direwolves. A valiant effort. But today it's all for NOCAP. On the last moment, the plan was denied. And Mr. Punch wants to know where on earth Joe Gore has been. Big smiles on the fan favorites. NOCAP have done it. They get the full 3 points from Direwolves.
And they did it on the most unlikely of sites, even under the most unusual of circumstances at the end of that round. The attack looked so solid, but the plant denial was there just in the nick of time. So good work from NOCAP, and they get that result across the line as well in regulation, and a big 3 points.
A huge game there for NOCAP. Rob Monday. I know we were all a little bit surprised what happened there in the final moments. I actually didn't realize the plan was denied.
Hang on a second.
You want me to call you Robert? I'll call you Robert.
Yeah,
Mr. Monday. Whichever you prefer.
Robert James Monday, thank you.
Are you actually middle name James?
Yes, I certainly am, mate. I certainly am.
Great
There's another name in there, but I'm not going to leak my entire government name for everyone. Look, very, very disappointing end for Direwolves. I thought that little roll that they got on for the second half, that was going to seriously do some damage, but NOCAP with a denial in literally the last 2-3 seconds. That is absolutely devastating. Probably equally as devastating as Mr. Punch's player cam at the end there. I don't think I've quite seen that one before. It was quite rare. But one thing that sticks out to me, Michael, was kind of like looking at the game. It was very, very top heavy for Direwolves. They really struggled as a team to put up the numbers. I mean, Pika obviously really holding the team together in most of those rounds, but it just didn't feel like there was that sting that was required from an entire team.
Yeah, if you take Pika out of the equation in that matchup, I think it would have been a little bit more lopsided, just unfortunately not having the same team chemistry as NOCAP, and I think that's probably the biggest takeaway, that NOCAP's team chemistry is really quite strong, and certainly in the upper half of the league, whereas for Direwolves, I think they're very much still trying to reacclimatize, and that's been affirmed in the Harambe interviews, where even he has admitted himself he hasn't felt particularly comfortable just yet. So that showed inside of the server a little bit tonight. And unfortunately, even with some of the shortcomings in terms of the strategic decision making and site selection, which is still mind boggling to me from NoCap, they were able to just get it across the line. So it's difficult to be overly critical.
It is difficult, isn't it, Dev? The entire game seemed a little bit maybe confusing at times. I'll get into that after we speak to the legend Onigiri himself. Let's welcome him in for yet another interview. Onigiri, it's all
Hello,
smiles today. A very close finish in the end there, but you
I
managed
know,
to
right?
deny the plan. What happened?
For me personally, it didn't go as we analyzed them, like on the attack. Yeah, as you can see, they improve, and we expect something more simple than this. But so we have attack pause, and then we talk about like what's the problem of defending this map, and then we figure out that okay, we figure out the problem, and we manage to come back. So a win is a win, I guess.
Now, Onigiri, I want to talk about your defense because you guys went to kitchen and cafeteria twice in this game. And it is, I've looked at the numbers, it is the worst objective in the entire game across every single region. Why are you guys playing this site? And how did you manage to win it at the end?
I don't know. I think your like statistic is not the same as me. Like we scrim in rank. I mean, yeah, we scrim and we win kitchen more than the control room. We feel like control room is more harder than kitchen to defend.
Onigiri, congrats on the win. Great to see big smiles on you and the boys' faces. It
Thank
does
you,
actually
sir.
put you in third place now, just behind Bleed and Elevate. How does that make you feel? Do you guys feel like a third place team? And how long until you think you might be able to reach a spot that could get to the major?
I have to say that I feel nervous because a spoiler alert that I have the midterm exam coming up at like the same day for the playoff. Then I have to like manage myself for everything, and then yeah, I think we're getting there for the third place, and yeah, I have to say that Bleed and Elevate, they as you can see from yesterday, I have to say that they are like a different level for sure, but there's always a room to improve, right? So I think we can improve. We will try our best to improve to the same level as they are.
Now, obviously, my next question was going to be, what's the preparation like leading into the playoffs? But it sounds like it's more preparations leading to the exam, big fella. How does it now kind of transition from best of ones into best of threes? Because obviously you've been away from the game for quite some time now, it feels, and the roster's starting to gel. How big of a difference is the best of ones to best of threes?
I feel like every team, even like my team, have more chance to win in best of three. I feel like best of one is, it's just one map and that's it. There's like maybe sometimes when you play best of one, you cannot get yourself warm up properly. I feel like even you lose on the first map on the best of three, that's you get a warm up and you might have a chance to come back. So I'm pretty confident with my team and like how we play, and I think we pretty prepared for the playoff.
Oh, looking forward to it, mate. Anything you'd like to say before we let you go?
Thank you, NOCAP fan, for supporting us. Even it's not the cleanest play of the day, but we will try our best for the playoff, and I hope you have a good day, sir.
Oh, sir, thank you very much for joining us. We'll speak to you soon, Onigiri.
Yes, sir. Have a good day.
That was, see, I'm getting different sirs from him now. That one was like, yes, sir. You know what I mean? Like we're getting different tones. Back in the day, it was just a very respectful sir. It was like I was in the military and he was just saying, hello, sir, how are you? Now, yes, sir, we're getting it. But obviously, guys, with that conversation kind of turning toward chaos, obviously Onigiri's circumstances are a little bit different to everyone else's. Not everyone's going through midterms, but there does seem like an air of confidence to them that I feel has somewhat been missing at the start of this stage.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree on him on the point that they are going to be more comfortable in the BO3 format, but equally every other team is going to be more comfortable with BO3's typically speaking, unless there's like endurance issues in a team or they get easily tilted, typically we do see the best teams rise to the top during the best of 3 format of playoffs. So I'm keen to see how they go. And again, as he noted himself and you reiterated, right, like midterm exams is a pretty important thing. And again, reaffirms that a lot of these players have lives outside of Siege and are trying to balance that. And typically, those that are full time in Siege perform better, and Bleed have that advantage at the moment. So taking them down is just going to continue to get more difficult.
I love the way we're talking about knowing what a midterm's like when I think they've dropped out of university. Guys, I think you might have dropped out of university. I didn't drop out. I technically got kicked out, but we all know what midterms are like. We're going to go to a short break.
Graduated. You graduated, right, guys? You got to stand up for yourself here.
Wait,
it was only an undergrad though, so it was an arts degree. It doesn't count.
I just an arts degree. No, you know what?
Here we go.
You get nothing for that. You get nothing for that. Maybe you know what, guys? We can come back to a segment of you with crayons. That might justify that. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back with the game of the stage. That's right. Elevate take on Bleed. It's a top of the table clash. You do not want to miss this one.